Welcome back to First Things First. NBA opening night, Celtics in Cleveland. The first quarter was marred by Gordon Hayward's graphic ankle injury, and trust me, the word graphic is used lightly. It was officially a dislocated ankle and a fractured tibia, but it was obviously jarring for the other players on the court to even look at. Gordon Hayward will have surgery later today. Cavs went on to win a close one, 102-99. Afterwards, LeBron talked about Hayward's injury.
You know, my thoughts and prayers go out to Gordon and his family. Hope for a speedy recovery, healthy recovery. I've seen a couple injuries like that in my lifetime. I've seen Paul George when it happened to Paul. I was watching the game with Sean Livingston and when he was with the Clippers. And I was watching NCAA basketball with Kevin Ware when he was at Louisville. And those are the injuries that you never see coming. You never want to happen, no matter who it is, no matter what the stature, no matter how much competitive nature that you have. It's just very unfortunate.
So, guys, we know that injuries are part of the game. It's part of what you sign up for when you become a professional athlete. But as a pro athlete, CC, I'll ask you, how do you get yourself to move past it and keep performing at the level you're supposed to perform at in the middle of a game when you see one of your teammates or someone you know go down right in front of you like that?
It's the thing that we all don't want. But it's also the reality that we all know that could be our fate. I mean, it's a simple play. He goes to the basket, goes out to the three-point line, decides to go back door, getting ready to catch an alley-oop. But he's probably jumped like that a million times.
Yeah. Right. Without thinking about it.
I mean, a million times. And when you see it done in such a simple way, it brings you back to the reality of, like, what you have and what you're doing is really special. And that could be you. There's no guy on the court or on the field when these things happen. It's like, no, that couldn't happen to me. So it's like all of a sudden, regardless of the competition, we become one fraternity.
Yeah.
And like we realize, Gordon Hayward, he's married. Imagine what his wife was feeling last night. What about his mom and dad?
Yeah.
If his kids are old enough to see that. Like, these are all the things that it's no Boston and Cleveland. Then it's about being an athlete, and you're able to do this. God has given you ability to do it at a high level, and it's only going to be for a short period of time. And it's beyond the competition. We don't want to see someone hurt like this. Not only miss the game, going to miss the season, but this could alter his career.
How do you agreed? I'm not discounting that. I feel terribly for Gordon, and I feel as a diehard basketball fan, I feel awful for Celtics fans. I know that Hayward is the person we should focus on, but this is such a bummer. They were so excited about this season. The best team, theoretically, they've had in a very long time. Legitimate aspirations to make the finals, and it goes away after 5 minutes.
Yeah, except for the fact that somehow this team, and just getting back to your point, was able to rally and keep it pretty close to give them a little bit of hope that it's still salvageable.
They know deep down that you can't lose one of your two best players when you were already going to be an underdog in the East and then win the East. They can still have a salvageable season, but I don't want to discount that stuff. But I want to ask you a question before we talk about something else. How do they compartmentalize it, though? Because you're right. Everything you said, that these guys know it could be them.
Yes.
They're thinking about the families. These guys very often know each other's families. Once he was stretchered off, within 90 seconds, guys are back hitting jump shots.
Right, and it's a lot harder, Nick, for basketball players because this is not an injury that we're typically going to see on the basketball court. This is an explosive injury, and typically we're going to see it in the NFL. And the NFL players, being through college, most of them come through major college programs, we've seen more injuries like that. LeBron recalled the 3 or 4 times that he's seen it happen. And it was amazing to me how he recalled every instance where he was, what he was doing. The Paul George thing, he was with USA Basketball, so he was there. The time he recalled watching things like that on TV.
Sean Livingston doesn't wear.
I've probably seen this happen maybe 15 to 20 times because of being at Ohio State and being in the NFL. Like, I've seen this happen more. How do we do it? I don't know. Like, I really don't. Each time is very, very different. And for me, my experience, not only have I seen that type of injury, I happened to be at an NFL practice where an NFL player died. My teammate, Corey Stringer. All right, he was number 77. I was number 80. We dressed right next to each other. went to the field, a normal day of training camp, and he passed away. Now, this is totally different. How do we compartmentalize it as an athlete? I don't know how we do it, but what they did last night, it's very, very hard to do. And as an athlete, you don't think the guy's career is going to be over. What you think is, well, we just lost another player. They're going to put someone else in. And you put that out of your mind until after the game.
This is an underrated skill pro athletes have. Like, I remember when I was doing radio in Houston, there was something going on in my personal life for about 2 weeks that was, my mind was there at all times. It was probably the worst 2 weeks of radio I've ever done. It was, I wasn't mailing it on purpose, but I had what I considered a real life, more important situation. And like, I still got to show up for work, but I'm not doing the prep I normally. Isiah Thomas's sister dies suddenly.
Yes.
And he's on the court performing at a high level. You guys, Corey Stringer passes away.
Yes.
You guys didn't cancel the rest of training camp.
No.
You guys, the mental toughness of these folks in professional athletics is one of their most underrated assets compared to just regular people.
Can I throw something else out there? I think in addition to that, and correct me if I'm wrong, for you guys, the court, the field, the arena is almost a safe haven, right? It's a place where you go where you don't have to worry about anything else. You can block everything else out. You can do the thing you were born to do. You can exercise the gift that you have, and maybe that's the place that you go to escape. And it's assumed that for the rest of us regular people, it's hard for us to focus on work in air quotes because of everything else going on. But for you, that's not work. That's your everything.
And most of the time, people in the normal workplace, they don't have teammates. They don't have, you saw Boston, you saw them huddle up. And the guys, they talk to each other. They have a heart-to-heart. Now, listen, man, we got a job to do. What would Gordon want us to do? All right? Let's go out there and try to win this game, because that would have been a hell of a message sent to Cleveland. I mean, after this horrific injury, we're still good enough to beat you. So I think that athletes being on a team, it really helps because you've set one goal and you see other people going about their job that you're like, I don't want to let that guy down. I don't want to let her down. So you go about it as a team. It's very hard, and especially to do it at a high level.
All right, Nick, but let's switch ever so gently to the basketball side of it. There was a very good season opening game last night between the two teams that everybody was dying to see. There were so many storylines in this one. And despite Gordon Hayward's injury, it came down to the end. This was a very close
down
game.
18. They were clearly, it did take them a moment to gather themselves after Hayward's injury. The Cavs went on a run. The Celtics seemed pretty stunned. But I told you yesterday about how much respect I have for Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens at halftime in the locker room got him to regroup. The Cavs maybe relaxed a little bit, and all of a sudden, we've got the Celtics took the lead by the end of the third quarter. They didn't have the lead at the end, but they had taken the lead within the third quarter, and we had a good game in the fourth quarter. What we saw yesterday from a basketball perspective was the continuation of the longest prime of any basketball player's career ever. LeBron James entered his prime his second year in this league. His second year in the league, he averaged 27, 7, and 7. His career averages are 27, 7, and 7. So he became the player he is from all intents and purposes in year 2. This was year 15, and he gave you 29, 16, and 9. LeBron's prime now, CC, is 14 years. That is longer than Magic's career.
No training camp.
That is longer than Larry Bird's career. That is longer than Michael Jordan played with the Chicago Bulls, his entire career except for the Wizards. Year 14 of his prime is what we saw last night. And you mentioned no training camp. He said he's doing it out of shape.
Yes. Oh, no, you could see that. And it was great for him to be able to admit it. What do I take from it? Nick, there's a thing you say about LeBron. When we talk about the GOAT, and of course, clearly, I think it's Michael Jordan. But you say LeBron is just the best at playing basketball. Like, what is basketball? It's everything. It's shooting, dribbling, rebounding, pick and roll, calling plays, calling sets. It's all those things. Now, he didn't have his A game. To use a Tiger Woods reference, how'd you win that, Tiger? I had my C game. LeBron had his C game and was able to put up these type of numbers. Why? His fundamentals. Driving the lane. I'm not going to shoot a bunch of threes. Driving the lane. Those buckets in the lane, his ability to play in the post or to get to the post, that was the difference, I thought, in the game. And because they don't have a bunch of shooters with him at this point.
Right.
All right? So just playing a double team in the post. They feed it to him in the post. Instead of forcing up another shot, he makes the right basketball play. He throws it to Kevin Love in the corner.
For the game.
Kevin Love knocks down the three-pointer. So under duress, out of shape, he still gives us the same thing he's given us since high school. What were his numbers in high school?
27, 7, and 7.
What did he do last night?
Well, 26, 19, and 29, 16, and 9. But LeBron's high school average is the same as NBA.
He's not out of shape. He may be out of a little bit of basketball shape. That guy, hands down, looked like the strongest guy in that court.
Oh, he was talking about his condition.
His conditioning.
Cardiovascular
Even
condition.
though we have
Something
seen him.
you should understand.
Oh, and I could talk for 3 hours about this because that's great television. Even though we saw video after video all off season of crazy things he was doing, running around courts for like hours and hours. If this is him out of shape.
But the least cardiovascular work he's done since the finals these last few weeks, since the ankle injury, and he still went out and gave you 41 minutes of high-level basketball.
We did a little baseball, we did a little basketball. It's time to talk some football. Coming up, the Zeke suspension saga continues. That was a tough one.